What's up, guys? Today I got a video on my Lenovo Legion Y540. It's got an Intel i5 9300HF processor. The F basically means there are no integrated graphics. It's running strictly on the RTX 2060 mobile GPU graphics. This laptop has been great for me. The temps are really cool compared to my older laptop. I had an overpowered OPLP2. It has a Walmart gaming laptop, but it was great. It's now like the the overpowered OPLP2 is the predecessor to the now Gateway Creators laptop that has the i5 10300H and the RTX 2060 mobile. Uh, Laptop was great for me. I loved it, but it started running a little too warm, and that's when I started messing with undervolting and undervolting the CPU and GPU were both some of the best things I could have done to this laptop and the overpowered OPLP2. But let's jump straight into it. The two programs that you're going to need basically Throttlestop. Now you can use Intel XTU. However, Intel XTU you might run into some issues where you cannot mess or adjust the CPU voltage. And Throttlestop, I really don't think you'll run into any of those issues. At least I haven't. And that's with the Intel i7-8750H that I had in my overpowered OPLP2, and the Intel i5 9300H didn't have any of those issues. And of course, MSI Afterburner, we will touch a little bit on the GPU overclock that I have. But of course, with this, your mileage will vary depending on your CPU, depending on your GPU. Everybody's results will be different. So I have them downloaded in here. My downloads, you can extract the MSI Afterburner setup into your downloads, and that'll prompt you. And once you open that, it'll allow you to run through the setup process, and it'll install into your C drive. However, Throttlestop, I recommend you extracting it and choosing a folder in your C drive. Sorry, this is my downloads. Go into your C drive, and as you can see here, I made it its own folder for it. And extracted the contents into here, and that'll go a little bit more. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, because I'll be creating a task for it in the task scheduler. Once you get done doing that, open up Throttlestop. I already have it open here, so I'm going to go into here, and basically, as you can see here, my Core i5 9300HF is running at right now about 49 degrees Celsius average. And then you can see my max temps, 70 degrees, 72, 69, very, very good temps. And it honestly had good temps before I undervolted. I just wanted to undervolt it to kind of, secure those good temps and kind of make sure that it wasn't operating at least a temperature that would decrease the lifespan of the processor. But because basically what undervolting is you're decreasing the voltage of the CPU at no cost to performance, because the CPU is already kind of come beefed up with enough voltage out of the factory. But first thing I recommend is speed shift. And what speed shift is kind of the communication between your operating system and your processor. And the lower the value, the better the connection there is there to allow your CPU to, I guess, throttle up faster. And so, like I said, you can set this to 0, which is preferring maximum performance, or 256. 256 being the higher the number, the lower that performance will be on your laptop. But just make sure that speed shift is enabled and you have that set to a value that you prefer. 128 would probably be the middle ground, but I have mine set to 1 since my laptop is docked 90% of the time. Next, I want to go here to Fiverr, and basically here you're just going to touch CPU and core cache. This is going to be unticked by default. Tick that. That'll allow you to adjust your CPU voltage. Core here, I have mine set to -125.0, and why do I have it set there is because most laptops now come undervolted out of the factory at -125.0, and that seemed to me was a good value, a good voltage for both my core and my cache. I'm getting good temps. 72 for me is great coming from my overpowered OP LP2 laptop. So I could probably go lower. However, I'm leaving it there because I'm already very happy with the temps that I'm getting. Don't mess. I didn't mess with turbo ratio limits. Now, if you have an i7 processor, you might want to, lower these boost clocks on some of these cores, and they may decrease your temps a little bit. However, everyone's mileage will vary, and if you're going to be touching more of that, Bob of All Trades has a better video that goes more in depth. I'm kind of skimming the surface with all this and showing you my settings that I did. But once you get done changing those, I went here, okay, save voltages immediately, apply, okay. Next, turbo power limits. The total power draw for the CPU is 45, so I left that at 45, or set that at 45 and put this at 60. You can leave, honestly, everything else at its default values, and you can mess with them depending on what temps you get. But I left mine at 45, left my short at 60, and then turbo time limit at 56. Yours will probably be 28 or 56, one or the other. This one you can set to 100, 130. I know for my i7-8750H, I had it at 130 or anywhere from 100 to 130, and I just left it at that. Left this at default, but this will not become configured by default. So make sure you have enabled speed shift when throttle stop starts. Apply those settings and hit OK. And that's honestly as simple as it is for undervolting. Now it can get a little bit more complicated if you have to revisit your core and cache to lower these values. Say you're not satisfied with the -125 offset voltage. You can keep going down in small increments to get it to your temps to where you want it. And then you kind of just keep playing with those voltages until you get a blue screen, and that's when you hit your limit, and then you want to back up a little bit and apply those. You go to options here. This will kind of help, kind of like a quality of life type task, but start minimize and minimize on close. And that's all for throttle stop that I have set. Now MSI Afterburner, I have my overclock curve already set. You want to go to the screen, hit Control F, and it'll bring up this voltage and frequency curve editor. As you can see, this is the overclock that MSI Afterburner found to be best for my GPU, and what it's been stable at for me, playing games for 1 to 3 hours. And how I was able to get this is I hit overclock scanner, I hit scan, it scans it for about 30 minutes, giving it different loads and testing each of the frequencies at certain voltages to see what your GPU can handle. Once that finishes, you'll hit OK, back out of this, and then you want to make sure to save that profile. What you'll do is once it's set on here, it'll set it as soon as you get done scanning it. It'll set that custom curve, and you'll see curve right here, and that's basically telling you, hey, that curve is set. Click one of these profile numbers over here, and it'll start flashing, and you hit save, and it'll save it. As you can see, I have mine saved to number 5, and then it saves that custom curve that you have, and then you'll hit over here, and you'll hit this apply. And that's basically it for that. Now you can customly set a curve here and lock your GPU at a voltage, and then make that curve slightly go up to a certain frequency if you want to get a little bit more specific into it. However, mine works perfectly fine at this that curve that MSI Afterburner provided for me, so I left it at that. And one more thing that I want to go into here is we're going to go into task scheduler here for throttle stop, and you'll see, let me go to my task scheduler library, and at the bottom I have throttle stop running. And I was able to do that by creating a basic task, and what that does is every time you log on, or a certain trigger will, throttle stop. A certain trigger will enable throttle stop to come or allow Windows to open throttle stop. So how do I want to, or when do you want to start the task? When I log on, every time I log on to the computer. Next, start a program, and this is where it comes in, what I was telling you about extracting throttle stop to its own folder. Now you don't have to do it here, you can do it in your downloads, but just to more peace of mind in case you don't actually delete your downloads or something like that, put it into your own C drive, into its own folder. You'll click here, open, next, kind of gives you an overview, but what you want to do is open the properties dialog for this task when I finish, and then hit finish. I'm not going to hit finish, but I will still be able to show you. Now what comes up afterwards when you hit show me the property dialogs is you'll have this conditions and security options come up. Security options, run with highest privileges and configure it for Windows 10. And then go over to, and then you'll have the conditions tab, and you'll want to untick all of these because you don't want it to wake the computer when you to run this task. You don't want it to start the task only if you got your charger plugged in, and you don't want to start it if your computer's idle for X amount of time. And that should be it. Then you hit OK or finish whenever you get done, and then from now on, every time you log into your computer, Throttlestop by default will start running and it will start minimized. But yeah, that's all I have, guys. Hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'll put the downloads to Throttlestop and MSI Afterburner in the description. If you have any questions regarding just the laptop in general, feel free to reach out to me. I've had it for a couple weeks now, just messing with it, playing games, and it's been great. But I hope this helped you guys, and I'll see y'all later.